Hello, everyone. Welcome to Life of Emerald. We present Sacred Healing Summit today. We are going to speak about the importance of the present moment, the now. We speak up about the elephant in the room, such as mental wellness. We are going through a hashtag movement, 30-day happiness. Stay tuned to find out more. Today, we have panelists calling from all over the world. Our first panelist is Sherak Melcher. Sherak is a personal fulfillment advisor and empowerment coach, best-selling author, and an international speaker. She has a master's degree in education. As a founder of Integral Woman, Sherak offers game-changing insight to individuals and is on a mission to change the global conversation around purpose, fulfillment, and what it means to be human. Our next panelist is Courtney Johansson. Courtney is a corporate wellness provider, mindset coach, and a certified yoga and meditation teacher. She leads virtual, customized, multiple-level corporate wellness programs designed to help employees reduce stress, increase productivity, boost morale, and create a happier work environment. She applies the principles of yoga to daily life and caring for our physical, mental, and emotional health. Our next panelist is Michael Mezmer. Michael is an American Council of Hypnotists, Examiner Certified Clinical Hypnotherapist, Certified Stress Management Consultant, and the immediate past president of ACHE. He also holds a degree in psychology from California Coast University, and for the past 8 years have been hypnotherapist consultant to the Unger Concierge Medical Center in Rancho Cucamonga, California. Our next panelist is Elliott Vang. Elliott is a certified high-performance coach. He helps guide people to self-discover new habits and new beliefs so that they can live the life they've always dreamed of or envisioned for themselves. He believes high performance is about reaching heightened and sustained levels of performance over the long term. Our next panelist is Tim Kellis. He's a renowned Wall Street analyst. He takes on what could be considered society's biggest problem today, divorce. The journey that led him to tackling such a significant issue was both personal and professional. Working with marital therapists, after he discovered the therapist wasn't helping, he decided to tackle the issue himself. Now, our next panelist is Nina Shirak. Nina helps individuals and teams apply the science of positive psychology to better navigate the waves of life so they can thrive resiliently. She's a professional certified corporate resilience mastery trainer, worksite wellness leader, licensed behavior change educator, and a coach, certified applied positive psychology practitioner. And finally, myself, I am Kate Lee. I am a healer, storyteller, and social entrepreneur from Seoul, Korea. I have international education background of 15 years. I am the founder of Life of Emerald and the Sacred Healing Summit. My ancestors are kings of South Korea of the Joseon dynasty and the scholars of the noble class in the Shilla dynasty. Well, let me pop out of the screen here and welcome our panelists in the Zoom room. Hi, everyone. I am going to guide us in 1-minute meditation. Yeah. So if we can, please close our eyes and taking a deep breath in from your root center and out gently. And let us put our attention in our feet, firmly grounded wherever you are. Just taking a deep breath in and out gently. And let us bring awareness into our spine, straight. Feel dignified. And calm and centered. When you're ready, please open our eyes. Well, everyone, we have lots to talk about today, specifically about the present moment. We sort of nailed the fact that life is not perfect and life can throw us lots of lemons, and how we handle it is the key and is the testament to our character. So I'm going to start asking a few questions to panelists, and we would love to really hear from you, your life experiences. So the first question here is for everyone. Why is the present moment important in our daily lives? What has been your life journey leading up to this understanding? Nina, would you like to start, please?
Thank you so much, Kate. So the present moment being important in our daily lives, because that's all that really exists, right? The past and the future aren't actually what's really existing. And if we're not experiencing the present now, we're not having a full experience of life. It's like I say, like live a life worth living. And that means the present moment, and fully being able to be aware there. So what has been my life journey leading to this understanding? Listening to your beautiful introduction, I was thinking about my ancestors, and my ancestry is definitely not that noble or dignified. I would say my ancestors are of the anxiety dynasty, and the worry, the worry nobility. um, so that's kind of the tools I'm working with. And it's really interesting. I was, and I know my family meant well. They probably carried through generations, coming from being immigrants and having, I guess, grandparents and great grandparents lived through the Depression. I just remember the kinds of things that my parents would say out of love, which would be like, if you said, hey, what about this? And it'd be like, well, what if that goes wrong? And what if this could happen? And, you have this wonderful experience now, but, maybe the trees in your backyard could fall down. And, or what if your house gets termites? And, all of these things which are out of the present moment, right? What bad thing could happen? So this is really part of my life journey, leading me to understand the preciousness of the moment and working to experience the moment fully without writing into the past, right? Which could be, that I should have or could have kind of judgment thoughts, or the future, the what if thoughts. So just in the here now. Thank you.
Thanks, Nina. Michael, how about you? What is your answer for this question?
Well, tomorrow is completed. Today is almost done. And all we have to plan for is tomorrow, and a bright tomorrow. So it's critical every moment of our lives. My mom, on her gravestone, actually wanted this, and we put it on there, that live every day like it's your last. And that's how I have followed my life, because it could be your last. So you want to make the most out of it. And the way to do that, of course, is always by helping others. We uplift ourselves and make ourselves feel more fulfilled in life. So that's why it led me, I think, to what I'm doing now. But of course, it goes way back to my grandfather. We were talking about ancestry, and my grandpa was a coal miner in West Virginia. And so he worked very hard in the mines, but he also was a very spiritual man. In fact, an angel appeared to him one time in the mine and told him to leave. And he did, not knowing why. And that day, everyone in the mine died in an explosion except for my grandfather. So the spirits and the angels guided him to keep him safe for some reason. So I've always felt that my life is critical to do everything I can to help others, because I wouldn't be here had the angel not saved my grandfather. So for me, it's been quite a spiritual journey, and morphing that into my hypnotherapy that I do now, I'm able to help people realize that promise of tomorrow, and to negate or reshape the past in a way that it doesn't interfere with that wonderful, positive tomorrow. So that would be my answer.
Wow, beautiful. Angels are real. Yeah, I witnessed them. Thank you for that. Tim, what about you?
Thank you very much, Kate. In kind of following what Michael said, the way I look at your question is the only time that's infinite is the moment, is the present. Because the past, as Mike said, is already gone and the future is yet to happen. And so when you understand the infinite capacity of the present, that gives it its significance. And in fact, the way I've heard it said best is that if you're looking at the past in a negative way, it's depression. If you're looking at the future in a negative way, it's anxiety. The only reason why I can comfortably say that I have solved the marriage problem is because I forgave my parents when I was 25 years old. Little did I know at the time the significance of that experience on my life, not only for myself, but on teaching that experience to others. Because what I did was I cut the connection to the past, all the negative connections from the past. And that allowed me to live in the present, which led to me taking my career all the way to Wall Street. And now I'm in this more emotional world of helping, which is so much. When I was 12 years old, I told my mom I wanted to be a Catholic priest, and then I discovered girls. So that career path kind of got derailed. But you know, what I'm doing now is so much more significant than anything I've ever done. Helping couples learn how to stay together, not to mention the personal part, which is the point of this conversation, of what it means to people if they could only understand this. Enlightenment comes at a price. You have to give up your limitations, and we only teach that to people and get them become aware of how much better a mental experience they will have with themselves if they can figure out some real basic concepts like forgiveness that helps us basically look at ourselves a little clearer. And love teaching this stuff, and I love enlightening people because it makes everybody experience life so much more significantly. It's awesome.
Definitely, forgiveness is very noble, and I think everyone here is advocating for virtue, and that's very noble. Courtney, how about you?
Yes, like Nina and the other panelists have said, I believe that the present is really all that we have. You know, we can make plans for the future, but if those plans aren't able to adapt to our current situation when we actually come to that point in our future, then we're very fixed on what we were expecting to happen and maybe losing sight of what's actually happening. And so from that, we can create a lot of internal struggle. We stay fixed into our expectations, and we're missing out on what's happening now. So I think that present moment awareness is really important, and it's been very critical in my own personal journey and learning how to adapt and live with a genetic illness where I might make plans for the future, but one day I might wake up and be extra tired. I need to adapt what I'm doing and maybe give myself some time for extra rest because that's what the present moment is telling me. So I think that present moment awareness can be balanced when we are trying to make plans for the future, as long as we can stay adaptable and be willing to change what our plans might be so that we are still in tune with the present.
Definitely. A presence without judgment, just let it be. We allow anything to be. Elliott, how about you?
Yeah, hi, Kate. Thank you for having me be part of your panelists. I'm excited to be here. And for me, right, I love to go to this saying and let people know, say, the present is underrated. I'm sorry, today is underrated. Tomorrow is overrated. So let's live in the present, right? Because we can only control what we can now. Yes, it's great to have that future vision or whatever, but what can you do with that, right? Just holding that and just having a placeholder. That's like a placeholder for you. But what can you do now? You control now to get there, right? So just being in that present moment, and I just want to share the story. Being in the present is just, for me trying to multitask, typing away my computer, and then having a conversation with my son. And here I am nodding away, and him telling me he has to go somewhere. An hour later, he's like, Dad, are you ready to go? I'm like, go where? And he's like, I said I had practice to go to. I was like, oh my gosh, I was nodding and I said yes, right? Oh my gosh, let me get my stuff together. That wasn't serving me well. Reverse the roles, telling my son, hey, I'm gonna run to the store. There's dishes, can you do it? I'm gonna be back in around roughly an hour. Come back, the dishes are still sitting there. He's still sitting in front of his TV playing video games. I can't get mad at him because I was role modeling that for him, right? So now it's changed and saying, hey, if you come and talk to me, I'm either gonna physically turn my body to you so that I can make eye contact, or say, hey, give me 2 minutes, let me finish what I'm doing so I could give you my full attention, right? And just being in that present moment and letting him know that he's being heard and he's being seen, right? So that's why it's important to me.
Thanks for that. And being role model is very important. Thanks, Elliott. And Sierra, what about you?
Hi. So as I was sharing with the other panelists before we went live, I think our stories, our perceptions are really, really important. And the present, thank goodness, has become, you know, mindfulness. It's becoming part of the more mainstream discussion. And I think this is really, really fantastic and important. However, I think it also comes with an underbelly that I wanted to add just to this discussion. So I actually grew up, both of my parents have been Tibetan Buddhists more like since before I was born. And so I grew up in meditation retreat centers with like spiritual leaders from Tibet. And so mindfulness isn't something I just picked up recently. I was over it before it was cool. Like, yeah, right, I know, whatever. But the present, and a lot of people, everyone here has shared in different ways, both the sort of the positive and the negative of what happens if you miss being in the present. And I'm gonna go right in there that currently I am really in the midst of healing from some child sexual trauma. And being in the present is hard. Being in the present of being an adult, remembering the past, being in the present in a marriage, being in the present in any, a stressful working relationship, anything, being in the present. I think we often talk about it sort of like a romanticized notion of just be in the present. Well, sometimes the present effing sucks and it's terrible and we want to be anywhere but the present. And we have a bunch of strategies that keep us safe from, I wanted just to bring into the dialogue tonight that it's not easy. The present can be really, really hard to feel all the feelings, whether you're processing something from the past, whether you're anticipating something from the future. Even all of those things are things that we're experiencing in the present. Whether you're excited about bungee jumping, although I would never do that, or upset about a fight that you're in the midst of. The present is really rough, can be really rough territory, which is why I think humans have laid claim to the past and the present, past and the future, and sort of want to leapfrog over the present because for the same reason of everything said here, the present is where it all is. But the past we're at a distance from, and the future we're at a distance from, and so we want to deal with everything at a distance. And so the present is where all the feeling is. It's where all the emotion can move. Emotion is energy in motion. And so when we can feel in the present, that's the only way we can actually like move. So going back to the healing of something that's really old and really deep, I've been making decisions from a 7-year-old terrified place for a really long time without recognizing that. And I'm getting into my 42-year-old human female form and being like, okay, now let's like get this present needs to feel the past to become present into the future, if that makes sense. But to feel, I've been quite literally feeling emotions that have followed me around for a really long time. And feeling is what I've been, up until this recently, been trying to avoid, if that makes sense. Anyone know someone who's ever done that? Okay, you don't have to own it yourself, but oh yeah, I met somebody like that once. So just this idea that the present, I want to make sure that as we're talking about the present being really important, because if we're talking about mental health, and the elephant in the room is the present can be the hardest place to be. So that I just wanted to bring that to the forefront. Thank you. I'm really glad to be here.
Thanks, Sierra, for the comprehensive overview of how life can be, and being present is not all, rosy and unicorns. I understand completely what you're saying about being in present can also sometimes mean being sitting with our darkest moments. And can we do that? Well, for me, the present moment is important, and the key for me is to not take myself so seriously at this moment. If I judge myself, oh, I'm not doing this right, then really I'm ruining this moment. And maybe 5 years down the road, everything will be forgotten. Who knows, yeah? So keep reinventing myself in this moment, anchor myself into, who am I at the core? In my heart, I'm a loving being. It doesn't matter how it's expressed in the outer world. I love myself, and I love everything just as is. Life is a comedy. Well, panelists, thank you for being flexible with us. Could I ask you to introduce yourself in this present moment, who you are? Could we start with Nina, please?
Kate, who am I today? Who am I in the, who I be, or what I do?
All of it. Yeah.
All of it.
Yeah.
I definitely associate myself as a positive psychology practitioner. I believe it's a wonderful tool and focus that I bring in my personal life and into the work I do in the world. I have a lot of passion for resilience. I do train people in resilience and do coaching in resilience. I'm also I do a lot of program development. I have a real knack for writing, and I love to write programs and deliver programs. And I love to coach people. I think one of the things that I enjoy is being there to champion and facilitate and just be a conduit for people and their realizations and their growth. I also have a coach. I believe all good coaches have coaches. It's just, something that you do in life. And one of the things that really is a touchstone for me is work with relation to worry, anxiety, sadness, emotions, and emotional intelligence is a phenomenal concept, is a phenomenal skill. I feel that if people really delved into emotional intelligence and practiced the skills of being aware of emotions, noticing them, naming them, which is not easy, and then learning how to navigate them with different tools, that we would be so much better able to tolerate emotions. It's just not something we're taught, as Sierra was mentioning. Emotions are difficult, and when we get stuck, we're not being resilient. So we need to learn how to manage them. We don't have a lot of role models in our past, and we are here in the present being role models of how do we deal with sadness and frustration and grief and move through them, and what are tools that we can use. And mindfulness is certainly a tool for managing emotions. So I love that you married these two things together. Really happy to be here. Did this answer your question, Kate?
Definitely, Nina, and you did more.
Thank you.
Thank you for that. And I love the idea of marrying the emotional intelligence and, what have you, life, corporate world, esoteric world, inner and outer world, everything. So welcome, Nina. I'm really happy to see you again. Courtney, how about you?
Yes, I am a corporate wellness provider and a mindset coach. I'm trained in yoga and meditation. And for me, these practices really helped me to connect to myself. So I was able to develop my own inner awareness of my mind and emotions and learn how to basically work with my experience and become more resilient from there. I work with people, helping them to find balance and build in self-care to their daily life so that wellness habits are not so daunting and overwhelming, but instead making them more accessible. Yoga especially is an entire system of living. And a lot of times we just think of it as the movement, which is really only one small part. So the tools of yoga and the principles that are involved can really affect our entire life and help us live in a more full, deeper experience. And that's the work that I share both in a corporate environment and with my mindset coaching with women.
Thanks, Courtney, for advocating for women and the body, health, and mind. Thank you for that. Elliott, how about you?
Hello, everyone. I'm super excited to be here. First, I just want to say I am a husband to my wife and a father to my 2 kids, right? I love to start out with that because that's what is important to me and that's what I value. And that's number one to me. That's top of priority list for me. But what I get to do is I'm a high performance coach and I get to help guide people to build habits so that they can enjoy a life that they create, right? Take back that control and they get the choice to design it the way they want to so that they can enjoy it and not saying living somebody else's dream or they're living for someone else or not having to answer to people if that's what you want, right? And then being able to maintain that for the long term, right? Maintain it over the long run and not just something that's a overnight success thing or a quick fix kind of type thing, right? It's building these habits so you can maintain it for the long term. So I'm excited to be here. Thank you.
Cool, Elliott. Thanks for coming back and sharing with us your life experience as well. How about Tim? Welcome, Tim.
Thank you very much, Kate. As Kate said at the beginning, my name is Tim Kellis. I, at one time, was a Wall Street analyst, and at the height of the market in 2000, I met this girl that I thought I was going to spend the rest of my life with. We started arguing, and then the pain, and then we went to a marriage therapist, and when that didn't work out, the pain of that experience is what led to me taking on this role of figuring out how to teach couples how to create lifelong marriages. And it's really given me an interesting perspective, an analytical perspective of this whole notion of mental wellness and what we need to do to become more mentally aware. And you go through, a maturing process, or at least we're supposed to be going through a maturing process as we learn the steps as we get older and learn different skills that we may not be good at. But if we're on self-improvement, as I like to say, a balanced ego is not when you're better than anybody else, it's when you're better than you used to be. And that's a concept that we're all trying to figure out in this wonderful world that we're living in, if we could just figure out how to look at it that way.
Absolutely. The idea of I am competing with my own old self is amazing. It's breakthrough. I think it's a psychological innovation. How about you, Sierra?
Well, the way that Nina asked, like, how do I introduce myself? I love that. So, because today I am a single mom on vacation for the first time in over a year with my 5-year-old out of the house. It has been an interesting year. I know that's not revelation to anyone, but it's been really interesting just to have sun on my skin. I don't think I'm as red as I look in the camera, but maybe I am. Who knows? And again, Elliott, like the roles that we take on and how we introduce ourselves are so important. If the assumed answer to the question is, what do you do for money? like that's all you are is what you do for money, it leaves out a huge part of who we are, because our energy and our time is who we become, whether we notice it or not. Like where we're putting our attention is who we become and the lives that we build. So that being said, I have, through various twists and turns of my own life and my own career, come to support women to really see how we are crafting our own lives, on purpose or by accident, and building self-awareness, emotional intelligence, like Nina mentioned. And it's just the most self-empowering thing to recognize where and how we are making our lives exactly as they are. Whether we love what we've made or not, we made them every step of the way. And so I do a lot of empowerment work and self-awareness work with women individually and in groups. And I'm really moving into a space of examining our stories, telling our stories in a public sense, either public speaking or publishing and writing, so that we can examine, share, and transform our own sense of who we are. So that's me.
Sarah, thank you for advocating for women as well, and your heart-centered leadership. I can feel that. Thank you. And Michael.
Thank you. It's great listening to everyone's backgrounds. Fascinating. I am a clinical hypnotherapist, and I'm a certified clinical hypnotherapist, also a certified stress management consultant. I was trained initially by the legendary Gil Boyne, who is one of the all-time greatest hypnotherapists. He's since passed away, but he was considered one of the best ever in the history of hypnotherapy. And I spent 500 hours of training initially with Gil, and then did an internship at the Hypnotism Training Institute in Glendale, California. Since that time, I have toured the world, 25 countries, experienced a lot of incredible things. And in this era right now, I'm turning my abilities and talents to working to help people overcome the difficulties, mental challenges of the COVID era, because I have a program called COVID-Gnosis Hypnotherapy, the ultimate pandemic program. So I deal with the three major challenges from that, which are stress and anxiety, sleep, and confidence building. And so that's what I'm really passionate about right now, because we're not, right now we're in the midst of the physical part of the COVID issue, but we're going to be dealing for the next decade or two with the mental issues that have come from the COVID issue. So I really feel that that's where I'm led right now, to help people to strengthen themselves and be able to overcome this and continue to have a productive, very positive and powerful future. So that's my history, and I'm really excited to be with everyone today. This is really interesting.
Thanks, Michael. You're a mysterious addition to our team, Hypnotherapy. I'm really interested in learning more about it. And for me, everyone, I call myself a healer due to a life and death experience. My soul escaped my body, and I said, no, I'm not ready. I'm not come back in 2009. And ever since, I have been dabbling into all types of spirituality, meditation, and started doing Vipassana meditation in Thailand. And that really got me understanding my life path, and currently I'm building a global system so that we can speak about the elephant in the room, the things that we hide under the rug. So transitioning into our second question for our audience. Panelists, I'm going to share these two questions, and please have in mind what is not present and what is present in terms of the stark contrast, so that our audience can understand when we are not in present, this is the symptom and might be a cause. And when we are in present, this is ABC. Yes, who would like to share first? Michael, would you like to?
Sure, I'll turn on my mic there. So, so you're asking us to define what's present and what's not present. Is that what the question is that we're addressing?
Sure, and practical ways when we're not present, what does that look like? And practical ways we are present, what does that look like?
Well, of course, we have to keep aware of ourselves at all times. And of course, that's always not easy, because as was said by one of Sierra, I believe, that when you're dealing with issues right now that are troubling, we tend to want to shield ourselves from those issues. So the concept of always being present is sometimes challenging, as Sierra had mentioned. But to be present, we just simply have to be always aware of what we're up to and not dwelling on the past. That's a big issue that many people have, is dwelling on the past or being fretful of the future. So again, staying in the moment, being present rather than being somewhere else in our mind's eye and using our imagination to take us to those places, which is counterproductive in many ways. So yeah, my answer to that would be, we just focus on what we're doing today, what we're wanting to do tomorrow, but also how to achieve that in the now. And in doing so, we move ahead. So I hope that answers the question that you've asked.
Yeah, very good. And Nina, what do you think?
I think that's a fascinating question. So when are we in the present and when we're not? When we're in the present, all of our senses are activated. Our sense of sound, our sense of sight, our sense of touch, our sense of taste, our sense of smell, and they're activated by what's in our current experience. So that would be the presence. And I think a good signal that we're not in the present is when we're having evaluative thinking, when we're interpreting. So, and we can't help but do that because that's the nature of the brain. We are designed as humans to make meaning out of everything that we experience, and we have to assess immediately: is there anything in the now that presents danger? Do I need to react to something? So there's that evaluatory aspect of the brain that comes to be, this wonderful neocortex, which just this strategic thinking and makes meaning and purpose. But when we settle that down and we are just really activating our senses, we are in the now, right? And that's, people do so many things to get into that kind of present state of now. There's so many different ways people do it, with meditation, with music, with doing creative activities that put you in flow or transcendence, as Scott Barry Kaufman calls it. There's, a lot of things to do that. But, we are humans. We're always going to have some of that kind of thought behind that thinking that's evaluating or interpreting in the background. But if we can keep our focus on our five senses in the moment, and we can all do that right here and now, then we're as present as we can be. So it's really, and it becomes very expansive, and then you really are in that state of flow. You lose that sense of time, right? And it's a really a very incredible experience. And it doesn't, as you notice, I didn't necessarily say it's a happy thing or a sad thing. Some of the most incredibly present moments I experienced were being with my mother while she died, right? It was so present. It was so intense and present. And also, moments of joy or just being in nature. So being in the present is just that's just one tool to use all your senses to just kind of touch base with them. What do I feel? What do I hear? What do I smell? What do I taste? Right? What do I see? And that's just a very quick way to be in the present. And that's when we're there. Here. Did that answer your question, Kate?
Yeah, Nina, thanks for, I'm feeling into what would it feel like to lose a mom, and I am speechless. So Tim, what do you think?
Well, my first answer before Nina spoke was, to me, the present is when you are happy. But let me elaborate on that because of her discussion of being there when her mom passed away. I think maybe looking at it more broadly is where you're in the moment when you're compassionate. And compassionate with yourself or compassionate with others. And so just to peel the onion back from that thought process, what that would mean then is when you're in the, we've already discussed the past and the future is where the problems come from. And so when you have an anxiety in your stomach, we know what we're talking about. Something comes up, our stomach knots up. That is trying to tell you something. It's trying to give you some insight into some lesson that you or us individually are supposed to be learning. either forgiveness of our past or working today for the, you know, anxiety that we might have for the future. And then when you're in the present is when you experience things more, like, again, Nina enlightened me more about something that's more profound than being happy. But I will tell you, at the end of the day, other than something outside of you that's a very tough experience right now, the goal ultimately is for us to be happy. And I think the way we can be happy is when we are in the moment and we don't have the past and the future influencing us as much, other than the caveat of, you know, Nina's conversation about when you're in the present of something that's not so happiness. Because I would never say watching my mom passing away would be a happy moment, but that as well is a being in the moment as opposed to the past and the future having influence on our thought process.
And I like the idea of being in the present and when the time disappears. Elliott, what do you think?
Just kind of echo what Nina and Tim also said, right? When you're in the present moment, you are in curiosity mode, you are in acknowledgement mode, you are in honoring mode, right? Again, going back to what I said earlier, with those three things, you're letting the other person be heard and be seen, right? So that's in the moment. It doesn't have to be happy, sad, positive, negative. You're just in curiosity mode, letting them be heard and learning more about them and acknowledging them for whatever they're going through, right? And then when you're not in the present mode, it's more so coming from a judgment zone or a comparison mode, right? Why haven't I gotten there yet? Why is so-and-so doing that and I'm not even there yet, right? You get into that comparison mode of comparing yourself to others and then taking away that focus from yourself, right? So coming back to that present moment, where's your focus? Bringing that focus back to yourself in that present moment.
Yeah, I can't help to imagine the cat running away when I'm thinking about the future, and I have to bring the cat back always, hurting the cat. How about you, Courtney?
Yes, this question makes me think about the teachings of mindfulness meditation, where mindfulness talks about focusing our attention intentionally and purposefully in the present moment. And we do this in a way that's compassionate and non-judgmental. So we could be doing a meditation practice and some thinking might start to happen. Our mind is so good at thinking because that's mostly what we practice all the time. So thoughts are a bit inevitable. And a lot of times we think that thinking is the enemy of mindfulness or meditation practice. But really, the trick is just to notice what those thoughts are. And once we notice the thoughts, we get to choose if we follow those thoughts, and that would be taking us away from the present, or we can maintain that witness mindset and then take our next breath to refocus back into the present. So I always like to say that we can always choose to begin again with our next breath, using that as our way to recenter and refocus away from maybe a path of thinking that has been happening, and we can always come back.
That's a very practical thing. We can use our breathing technique to bring our mind back. And that's something we take it for granted, breathing. We breathe, it's easy. But when we strategically use the breathing to calm ourselves, I think that is a key, a door into a inner resilience. Well, how about Sherak?
I love hearing each person's sort of explanation and understanding, because I think together through the discussion, and thank you, Kate, for the opportunity to have these discussions, we can each sort of increase our understanding of the present moment. For me, the simplest comparison to the present is awareness. Awareness, like Nina said, of the senses and the body. Like Courtney said, using the breath to get into that, where are my thoughts, is, oh, have my cats run away? I don't even know. Like, if I don't know where my cats are, then chances are I'm not aware, right? And awareness doesn't judge. It doesn't say like this is good or bad. It just is. And for me, the present moment, a technique that bridges spirituality and science, because that's what I love to do. I don't think there's enough science and spirituality and enough spirituality and science. So I use the breath all the time to help people get into the body, because like we said, how can we know what our five senses are if we're not in the body? Our mind can be past, present, future, meta. It can be anywhere and everywhere. And I think we've grown up in a society that celebrates the mind and devaluates the body, and certainly devaluates the sort of interplay between the two. And so from a scientific place, from a physiological place, when I learned that the breath is the one sort of one conscious choice that I can have that changes my heart rate, it can change my neuropeptides, it can change the chemicals and the hormones that my body's releasing, that I can slow my breath, that I can bring my attention to my breath, and therefore change every other physiological experience, which then also can influence my thoughts and increase my awareness of all that I'm experiencing, that whether they're senses or a flood of emotions, or, you know, I'm being swept away by this, that, or the other thing. I can't, can you give me 2 seconds, my darling? I'm just about to finish. And then it will be all about you, okay? Okay, I'll be right there. Mwah. The getting into the mind is an easy place to get lost, but the breath can get us into, what am I feeling? And again, Elliott, the curiosity about another person, about one's self, right? I don't know that we're curious enough. I certainly am more judgmental of myself than curious about myself. When the breath can be, what am I feeling right now in my body, that then gives me the space to become curious about what I'm feeling in my emotions, and what are my thoughts about my emotions. Like Courtney said, like we can witness what we're thinking about what we're feeling, and then it just opens up a massive playground of self-exploration and introspection, but that without being in the body, without being in the present moment, all bets are off. It's just sort of, you know, after that, who knows what can happen. But the breath, we do it all the time. Like Kate said, we're breathing all the time. But we have this access, this capacity, this tool that I think we don't take advantage of enough. And so anytime things are going wild for myself or for my 5-year-old daughter or for a client, I'm like, are we breathing? Let's, because a lot can happen just even like for each of us. Take a deep breath right now. And feel how that simple act, the senses that you feel and all the things that can unload and open up for you. I have a 5-year-old to attend to. Thank you. I will try to pop on again.
Sarah, please take care of the 5-year-old. Thank you for your insight. Everyone, as Sarah mentioned, the importance of marrying the science and spirituality, I think we are doing that right now as we are present. And I'm aware of 2 guests here, Linda Davis and Thomas. Could you have any questions for our panelists? It could be anything. Feel free to open your mics.
Hi, this is Thomas.
Hi.
I hope you can hear me well. Thank you. It's been really insightful for me. I'm kind of new in all of this, and I'm trying to go through this journey, starting now with this journey. And the present is something that always concerned me. I have to admit that it's difficult for me to grasp those experiences that we live through the day. My question is, how much time during the day we have to be present? if there is a straight answer for that. Is it just the moment when we meditate that we feel present, or we should aim for 24 hours other than when we sleep to be present? Thank you.
I'm glad you asked this question because I was thinking about that actually myself. So somehow, Thomas, maybe we were connected in the airways this morning. I was just thinking about that concept, and I was thinking, I could tell you there's no research to that, but I can tell you what works for me, and it seems like a very practical approach because I'm all about practicality, even though I take research, but I turn it into practical tools. So I'm going to say that starting your day is a really important time to kind of set your day to really practice something that looks like mindfulness to you. So whether it could be, reading something that sets your mind in the place you want to be. Some people do prayer. Some people sing to the radio. Some people meditate, or some people journal. Whatever it is, just to have that kind of quiet time before you get up and deal with your day, just to kind of be present with yourself. And the other thing because I was thinking about this today, is that if we could set our intention to also be really mindful and in the present moment when we eat, I feel like that's another good time to go, I should be present now. So I'm just suggesting these as sort of signposts through your day to go, here's a time I should be present, because it helps your digestive system, that we know, when you're relaxed. It's really, and though I'm guilty of it, but I have read, there is research that says when you multitask and you're, watching TV or on your computer and you're eating, your digestive system isn't working as well. So that I have heard. So I'd say that would be another time when you eat, if you could find a way to be as present and involved fully in your food, and also at the end of the day. And some people have a practice like a gratitude practice or meditation or an exercise routine, whatever it is. I just think those time periods, the start of your day, the end of your day, and when you take food. How does that resonate with you, Thomas?
Yeah, it's fantastic. It's very inspiring, and I guess it has to be more of a routine to find those moments during the day, for sure.
I think the big issue is everybody was mentioning this word over and over again, but the truth of the matter is the core issue is time itself. And as we get older and as we move along in life, and our senior family members realize the value of time. And so if we focus on time itself and give value to that and realize that time is fleeting, as the saying says, then ultimately that will shade our behavior daily, and we will put more value to each thing we do and keeping in that present, because we know that time is fleeting and time is the major issue. So if you talk to an older person, they'll realize that decades seem like years now. So in knowing that, then if we keep that as our central focus, then each day and each moment will become more valuable, and we'll stay in that moment and we'll enrich that moment in our daily lives.
And as a conclusion, I would love to have our panelists share. How do we contact you, follow you? How do we do that? Could Nina please share?
Honored to support or assist anyone any way I can. This is like a passion for me. It feeds me in life. And I really love that after our last panel, someone reached out to me and I sent them some resources. So please do reach out. You can reach me. My website is resilience-mastery.com or ninasherak.com. You can reach me through Instagram, also Facebook. I'm going to be moderating a room tomorrow. I will be covering mindfulness and intuition on Clubhouse. So if you're on Clubhouse, find me there. And then I'm also doing some positive psychology rooms every Sunday. So that I'm moderating a room there. It's going to be every single Sunday. So that'll be fun. Come to that. I have a whole bunch of tools here. I have 4 different tools for mindfulness. I'd be happy to share with anyone. So reach out. Be honored to support anybody. Thank you.
Thanks, Nina. Elliott, how do we find you?
Yes, for sure. So you go to my website, it's elliottVang.com. That's Elliott with 2 L's and 2 T's, okay? Vang.com. And I have some resources on there for you to be intentional with your day, right? And this could be a daily practice. So you can find more info there on my website. Thank you, everyone.
Cool. Thanks, Elliott. Courtney, how do we find you?
Yes, I have my website, my full name, CourtneyJohannesen.com. I also run a Facebook group for women cultivating resilience. And I'm also on LinkedIn and Instagram under my name, Courtney Johannesen.
Thank you. And Tim, how do we find you?
You can reach me via email. It's my name, Tim Kellis, TIMKELLIS, at happyrelationships.com. Tim Kellis at happyrelationships.com. You can also, I've started a marriage support group on Facebook. So you go to Facebook and you search the marriage support group and you can join me there. I've got about 2,000 members on that, but best way is via email.
Cool, thank you. And Michael, how do we find you?
Yes, you can reach me at my email, which is hypno, HYPNO, MEZMER, hypnomezmer, one word, at hotmail.com, or at my website, which is covidnosis, COVIDNOSIS.weebly, WEEBLY.com. So www.covidnosis.weebly.com, and I'm on Facebook at Michael Mezmer. So I hope I'll see some of you there, and you're welcome to contact me. In fact, the first 10 people that contact me from this talk today, enlist Kate or the Emerald event in the subject matter, I will forward you a free audio of self-hypnosis for relaxation.
Cool, cool. And Sierra, are you here? Sierra can be found on LinkedIn on Sierra Melcher, and I see her very active on there as well. She's a best-selling author, and so you can also reach out to her. I can be reached at Life of Emerald. So as a conclusion, everyone, I like to share the closing message here for everybody here. So I'm really delighted to hear everyone's perspective. It's really vast and diverse from multiple angles, and I feel like you're like touching the elephant from different angles, and so we're able to make the elephant together, and hence we're speaking about the elephant specifically around increasing our emotional intelligence. So for our audience listening in, I hope you received the nuggets of wisdom here in our summit today. And if you resonate with our panelists, feel free to connect with them directly. For more information about our impact-driven company, Life of Emerald, we can be reached at lifeofemerald@gmail.com, and our website is lifeofemerald.com. For New Year's resolution, easily build healthy habits, we built a system for you called 30-Day Happiness Program. This is for anyone seeking happiness and getting in touch with feeling joy and balance once again. All you need is 20 minutes of me time for a solution. The hashtag movement, like the Ice Bucket Challenge, is for anyone who like to bring positivity into the world by doing one simple action. Here's how we do this. 1, let's share via photo, video, or text one positive self-care thing that you did today. 2, nominate as many people as you can to do the same. 3, then tag hashtag 30-Day Happiness on your social media. We're going to make this positive self-care movement go viral. For more information, visit us 30dayhappiness.com. Till we meet again, please take care, panelists, everyone. See you later. Bye.